All right, well, we're recording. So currently we have everybody that we need for quorum, but we can start on the meeting. All right. Probably will want to go around and do a brief introduction. We have our new faces of guests today. Leah, the chief herder of cats for the RHSF. I'm the staff person who manages board activities.
Easy around for working city of Rochester and zoning.
Do a wife secretary.
I'm Grace, I need the grants manager. And then I'm Allison Bartlett, I'm one of the municipal attorneys of the city, so. Carol? Quick hello. Hi. Everyone. Carol Wheeler. Allison. Wonderful. All right, perfect timing.
It's my mistake. Sorry.
I was like, I was gonna do it. Okay. So we are first happy to have Grace and England here to I told her they won't know. I won't be super loud. Kind of give us a sense of how things are going. Also how things went with the RHSF program, but in general, what are the kinds of things that you're seeing on the ground with folks in your clientele?
Okay, well, I guess I'd ask you guys where your curiosities lie, because that could give you a breakdown of how the program went. Or if you're more interested in the grant, I'll do both. Start with the review or.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Questions.
yeah, and I think
Okay.
the board is particularly interested in what you liked and what you found and learned with the program that you did for us.
Okay, great. So I'll start with a quick introduction to the project. So as a housing agency, we also do case management and immigration, but Rochester Refugee specializes in housing. And we own and manage nearly 100 properties throughout the northwest quadrant of Rochester. It's a very highly international population in that area. It spans about 500, just over 500 people we house in the northwest quadrant. The Maplewood and Edgerton neighborhood primarily. So having this connection to the community has given us a lot of insights to the dynamic needs of the immigration population and how it has shifted over time. So we see different waves through immigration and border policy, different groups within the community. And then obviously the past decade or so, it's been a bit of a roller coaster with a bunch of immigrants coming in Biden's administration, and then all of the policies that have been threatening their security and certainty in the past few years. So we proposed the Healthy Homes program as an effort to get us more consistently in the homes and building a relationship consistently and long term with our tenants. I would say our relationship has always been long term because as a housing property, most of our tenants will stay with us from 2 to 5 years, and then we try to push them on to home ownership, which is the ultimate goal. But this opportunity was unique in the sense that we've always wanted to do consistent house visits, but it's a problem of capacity and funding to get our case managers out of the office and create that time and carve out to go into the homes. So the Healthy Homes Project was aimed to alleviate some of the challenges that refugees face in acclimating to U.S. home care customs. A lot of our refugees are coming straight from refugee camps, where they're living in open air shelters and nothing like the amount of knowledge and home care that is required in a U.S. house. And then beyond that, there's the integration into the neighborhood as well, so, and what does it take to be a good neighbor and what should we be up with and all of that. So the Healthy Homes program, we initiated with 3 of our case managers and we assigned them to 10 different homes of ethnicity or cultural group that they spoke the same language as. And they conducted quarterly house visits upon moving in. And in that first 2 weeks of them moving in, we welcome them with our Healthy Homes book, if you guys, I don't know, people peek or pass it around, I have a, like, as well, if you're interested. And then with the funding from this grant as well, we were able to purchase around $200 worth of cleaning supplies for each home. And go into the house with that as a welcome basket and kind of walk through, how to properly utilize each of the items, go through this book with them in person. And hopefully they would be able to better use this as a tool of having us walk them through it, as a little bit of context. We have it available.
We have Swahili, Somali, Spanish, Berlin. Yeah, about 5.
Specifically, this project, the houses that were selected were Afghans, Congolese, and Venezuelans. But we provide this to every household. That was probably one of the biggest takeaways from this, is those bi-weekly meetings that we were holding for this project really allowed us some time to develop our onboarding process and procedure and make sure that each house is getting and prioritizing the welcome for each new move-in. So. Any questions about the specific 10 households or the demographics?
I think there was, if I recall, there was one household where things just didn't end up working. And was it that they had needs that just couldn't be filled with this program, or was there something that was missing that could have helped them?
Yeah, I wish Brooke was here to answer that. I believe that was yeah. But it does happen sometimes where refugees who come here, they're coming here. There's varying expectations of the amount of support that they will be getting here. There is this idea of the American dream, and some of them come here thinking that it'll fall into place, and life is much more challenging than that, and it tends to build up. So that house in particular, we did end up referring her to a different organization that was supporting.
So that household has the challenge, other factors. She was a single mother of 3 teenagers. And she was working a lot, and then with the legal status, she was overwhelmed, and so that's how it needs kind of support our program.
Sure.
But she did move in, I think it has to do with her immigration. She was worried that one day she's going to be deported.
I think we would worry that too.
Yeah.
Is that built it? Is that something you guys had before going into this, or you created for this program?
We did create this prior in 2021, I believe. We got a grant to make this book. And then with the funds from this project, we expanded its translation to a few more languages.
So it's really cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I have mine, so I could use that. Like I read one page, I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's the little things that you don't even think about.
Right, that people might not know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Was there a common theme in things that folks found useful or that they really needed to know?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, so prior to the receiving the grant, so the refugees, they are assigned to Catholic Charities giving promises, and then they work with them 90 days. But then there's a gap where that 90 days, there's no case manager from that agency working hand like how we watch refugee does. And sometimes it's how cleaning the products aren't given to our tenants. They don't know how to clean the stove, how to clean the fridge, because they're not We do our Afghan, population are more advanced, keeping up with the home versus our, other, not Venezuela, our, we have the Congolese or, and the African, individuals, they did find helpful that to have, how do you use the map, how do you, because they have shared with us, few years back that, we did, some of them didn't have a room on a map, like, half the year, which is why this, grant has, so, one of those, it's important to have your map and how do you clean your stove, or how do you, because some of them, like, is it important to put away your food? So based on where they came from, I think this, our case manager really go in depth of, the education on the book, like how do you clean your stove, how do you keep out the fence, how do you, so everything that, our case manager had the opportunity to for in depth.
Yeah, some of the issues that had been coming up, as common trends was one, utility costs from a lot of families who came from hotter climates, boosting up their AC for, keeping doing until like 80 degrees. Like, you can't do that, you gotta lock it down. Pest prevention from just not being accustomed to, living in other housing structures, it's maybe they were more flexible, but here, you have to be very diligent about your garbage removals and keeping things clean. Garbage disposal practices is a big one with, learning the routine of bringing the garbage can out and not leaving stuff outside in the yard. We get complaints from neighbors on that regard. And then as Ingrid was referring to, transitioning from water only cleaning techniques to utilizing all of the supplies that providing.
Basic things that individual.
Yeah, but it was definitely I'm so glad we got to have those conversations every week because it's eye-opening and, all the case managers were there every week and it was really nice to just stay super exposed to person's case. And those details that usually would get missed in the weekly meetings, like staff meetings, we had the time to talk about, so it was a lot.
Do you see any difference now with the folks that have gone through this program compared to the rest of the folks who are under your care?
So you're talking about the whole that, also,
Right, you know, is there a long-term change, or, you know, is this now stuff that you're incorporating and trying to work with all 480 other households, or?
yes, previous tenants, there was a lot of complaint of not keeping up with the house, there was a lot of, house maintenance, there was a lot of maintenance requests, but, the new houses that we had, 1 year ago, the ones that, the individual homes that went to be program, now that when they're taking the home, so that includes, now we're going to find now.
Yeah, and I think it internally really shifted, our organization, because it forced us through having that probably a lot of requests coming through our housing management team, and they were like, I'm just here to fix, I can't really talk about that, so, establishing the policy and procedure, we established the case manager contact, very clearly established that relationship in the housing for other needs. So I think that was a really good takeaway that's moving forward with the rest of the tenants, that is really helpful for not overloading case management or housing. And most of the people coming in recently are from Afghanistan. So, they pick up their culture is they're good folks. They love this space. That's very helpful. So they've been touching on these.
Now, this was a pilot program, it's supposed to be done, is there a plan to continue? Is scale it up, down, making adjustments based on the experience so far?
I would say we are keeping it scaled to the point of the policy and procedure in place, and it's mandatory that every new house gets welcomed in person with 2 meetings within the first month. Unfortunately, capacity wise, we're trying to navigate how we can make more consistent home visits, possible. And our funding priorities have shifts in the past year with funding cuts. So it's hard to go beyond, but I think this project is always, the priority at a top one, beyond general funding.
And we do still have some of the books left, so we're still giving,
The past 3 years, one of, at least for me, and a lot of us, our top priority tends to be starting something new and hoping that we can keep that rolling. But, you know, we're not like, there's something like that, or one place here. So we want you to have a program that you can start, and now it's always there. So it's good to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've actually received donations, from Walmart who's specific to providing more, welcome baskets. So smaller pockets, I think, in some ways to keep it sustainable, where as long as we're living up to the part of making sure we get those house visits in within the first week. Find some smaller pockets and to keep the, stock of housing supplies replenished, and just we need to get more copies as well, but we could stop it.
House wholesale.
Yes, we have kept them up. I believe so, yeah, I can know. So, yeah.
Is there anything else that you want us to ensure that we put away from this conversation? I mean, it can be a wish, it can be takeaway, you know, anything else that we haven't asked you, haven't yet said.
I would just say thank you for providing the money. I think the biggest thing that I've learned from this project and our housing operations in general is that the community has so much potential. It's a neglected but really beautiful area. And the importance of giving support so they can integrate into the community and actually feel like they belong there, is close to with we're getting there.
Well, then, thank you. That's exactly what we were hoping for. Yeah. You're welcome to sit through the rest of our meeting, or you can go off and have the rest. Yeah, we'll leave it to your best.
I have a client, I've been working with disabilities.
I should say, I used to live next door to one of you guys' companies, and I've seen many people come and go in there. Yeah,
Oh, good, I'm so happy to.
yeah, a lot of kids, a lot of
Yeah.
happiness happening, it's good to get kids fun outside.
Yeah.
And joyously, not swimming.
I know, the kids are inside.
Yeah, that's right. Thank
Oh,
you
I'm so
for what
happy
you
to
do.
do that. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us, you guys. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Alrighty, you wanna take care of the April minutes?
I think we still have to officially open the meeting. Oh.
I. Man, I'm like, no. All right. I will actually.
You have a checklist.
Um,
Open meeting.
Well, yeah. I will, bring this. Oh, no, I will call us.
Oh, there we go.
Maybe everyone get a chance to look on this. All right. So we wanna make a motion? Or second?
I'll second.
All in favor? And opposed?
Welcome. Would you like to talk about our money? You'll have to talk about those. Yeah, then Melissa is.
right, so in April, the extra project. Total for extra project, 41. Well, other ones go, and right now are, um, so, right, and on, our budget comes out. When you have them, wrapping stuff. Not looking on.
Any comments? So,
They are gonna submit their final budget or their final invoice, and then the remainder of the money will come back to the pot to be used elsewhere. No, the rest of theirs,
We don't know what.
it will likely be around 20,000 that we put back into the pot.
And where they were, what was that?
The House of Mercy, they had tried the pilot project of rehabbing units to then allow folks who have chronic homelessness issues to move into that, and it did not work the way they hoped it would, and so, they just didn't find enough takers, and their grant ended, and
So that's definitely, yeah, about that.
yeah,
There, somehow. How. Issues like way. Right. We. Well. What they have done. To help. Landlords looking for more assistance. Landlords looking for someone. Hey, you know, I call,
Right.
right on the side when I'm having this issue. And sometimes that tends to be one of the barriers. Landlords. They don't mind, but who I look to if I'm having a problem. Like, my friend. Yes, exactly, right, exactly. So be curious, really understand what the barriers are.
Mhm.
So maybe that's something here. Other things. That.
Well, building that's part of the PSH model, is that they have us to reach out to. If the landlord has an issue, they can reach out to us, if the client has an issue, reach out to us, and we're there to figure out what needs to happen. To part of that message. It's just this one, about an actual. Hands on with them. I'm saying, it just moves to just a given. Where they're just helping you find a communicate, their PHS. So they would have to go through like mediation, like the mediation. So,
All right, so on our notes as well is I finally brought with me the breakdown of our ARPA funded projects. So Community Place, they still have $700 left, which I expect that they have used, I just haven't received their invoice. Because they are just trying to use as much as they can until it's all gone. But so far, in February, they assisted 101 households. 81 of those were female-headed households. The average annual income was 26,000 and change. about 75% of the households assisted were, Black or African American. In general, they, they had half of the families were 2 or 3 people in them. There's a really breakdown of whether that was 2 children, 1 child, what have you. There were only 4 households with more than, with 6 or more people in it, which doesn't mean they're not out there, but there weren't so many. The vast majority of the money went towards back rent, followed by first month's rent for Social Security. And the average amount of assistance was about $1,600. So Baden Street, which basically had the same program, they assisted 148 households. 129 of them were female headed. Average monthly income was less, it was 20,000 and change here. And then similar racial and size breakdowns. Their average amount of assistance was $1,000 a month. That was interesting. They had 8 people who were 6 or more. They had 43 single person households, 59 2 or 3 person households, and 38 4 or 5. A pretty good range. It may be. Although, so Baden Street is very much in the northeast. And then Community Place is sort of bookends that, right? Because they have Charles Settlement a little to the west and Community Place itself, which is a little to the south. So quite possibly. Five. No. Yeah. Lot of them. So then legal aid, which primarily, I think, got their referrals from folks who were just about at court or about to be at court. So they assisted 133 households. The average annual income for their folks was under 17. Which again, because they're taking them from all over, and folks who are really desperate are going to be ones that end up at court. And the average amount of assistance for that was about 2,000. Right, it's annual or so.
It's so sad.
Yes, and it is, this was our largest amount of money. And, we have these small pockets of money to give to pilot programs. This is a giant pot of need. I don't have details on that.
It'd be.
Could be. I will pass this around if people want their detail or look to find their own details. But I figured I'd give that overview. I have a very long, drawn out, description of how the Esther project worked. They are not going to do, they're not going to draw the remainder of their money they have finished, so that just under 5,000 is also gonna go back to the pot. They were very successful. I have the numbers on our website. I didn't bring them here, but they were very successful with what we had initially asked of them, their proposal to deal with the warehouse and transporting the furniture. They more than served the number that had asked for. They were a little less successful in their pilot of their own version of case management and preventive issues, which I think is why we got some money back. They can only ship so much into the warehouse. So I would say that should not be in any way a reflection on their success. Again, one of the nice things, I suppose, about this money that doesn't have the same kind of reporting strings. How people can try things, but we want to make sure that they're trying things that are likely to succeed as opposed to just whatever. If we would like, I can ask the Esther project person to come and give more details herself. Hear from the horse's mouth. All right. Any questions or comments so far? Yes. Wow. Considering we only have $70,000 left, we don't have to worry about spending down our resources. But if you mean somebody that we award money to being successful in using our money. House of Mercy.
So. If you have roughly $70,000, so have.
Sure. Yeah. So because I know that you may have to leave, I'm going to swap old business and new business. We do have a proposal to vote on. It has been reviewed and scored and tweaked a bit by the internal review folks. So this is an entity called Disability Moving Assistance. New for me. And they have asked for money to support households who are elderly or have a disability who need assistance in moving. So they provide the moving support. The majority of their request was a little confusing, but they would like $10,000 in staff support. They currently don't have staff, paid staff. Supplies, direct moving expenses, and then some money for outreach and marketing. They think, they assume they will be able to assist 20 to 30 households in a 12-month period. Please, please, now is the time for questions.
So. How?
I think that's a good question and we don't really know. I mean, I have reporting on. I actually am not sure whether this is from or to, but they're all over. I did specify that this funding, if it was awarded, would be for folks either moving into or staying in the city proper. That's a good point too.
Yeah, exactly, for real.
Rental to rental, rental to owner, owner to back to rental.
I should have been question about marketing, kind of doing hearing it implies you're looking to find someone who needs the service. Rather than we have already identified the service needed, like, you know, what is the marketing?
It was not really clear. That was a question that the review committee had, is are they marketing to recruit volunteers? Because this is all, the volunteers are the ones that do the moving, or was it marketing to gather the people who need the support?
Well, finding volunteers probably makes more sense, right? Because you would already have. Help them, right?
Yeah, did they talk at all about like who they're actually trying to identify for the staff? $10,000, and so is that?
The exactly correct.
Oh, that's even, okay, and they're not currently paid, it's a.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Really? Yes. There is not. No. At least that is not part of what they described. They have. We have been working with the Independent Living Service Center and service coordination organizations such as Prime Care, Rochester Spinal and Health. So not nobody, but not necessarily usual suspects. Or elderly or. Yes, the number of my teeth who are over 55 can get bad if you call them elderly.
So, yeah.
For real. I don't agree with you at all.
The criteria to say stable or qualify for the service.
Gonna be driving by.
I feel like that's just so broad to that, but like, are we're talking. Like, where's it going?
Right, are they aging out of where they live and they need to move to an accessible unit, right?
Yeah.
Into an accessible unit would be like.
Right, so on the application that you would fill out if you were requesting services, it's, when are you trying to move, your current location, the destination, how many rooms are being moved, what style of home is it?
Yeah.
What type of assistance are you looking for?
Isn't that a lot for somebody with disabilities? That's quite. If the person is disability or, like, I do think that would be a lot to take. Yes.
I suppose that depends on what type of disability it is, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, if you are the person with the disability, you could have a friend or caregiver who is helping you with this care
Yeah.
Sorry, question is as to why that would be.
I thought there was, but,
Moving, because you can't do stairs anymore, or.
So-
Situation, living arrangement with a spouse. Right. I mean, it could be, there's a multitude.
Yeah.
Down to them having to file.
So we were able to get, I don't know why so much of this printed that, but we were able to get like one of their previous years of service and, at least on this, there was nobody who just said, I'm old. Everybody, I know.
Yeah.
Don't sit next to me if you ever need to like be really polite in a meeting. Cancer, cerebral palsy, arthritis, spinal cord. Traumatic brain injury, autism, MS. So. I don't know that they're asking them to prove these things, but assuming they are correct, I could definitely. Make sense.
So
why
they're
they might-
self-declaring, self-identifying.
Self-declaring.
Okay.
That's true.
I do think this, you were gonna say something.
Are they collecting this information just to figure out eligibility, or is it like recorded somewhere? Like, I wonder, like, is it a way of like ruling out, like, no to this criteria, but yes to this? Or is it for like another agency that funding them that we need to?
I don't know. No. At least not the way we're set up right now. We sort of need to, say yea or nay. And go from there. I know we discussed it, like at the last meeting we had here, that maybe that is sort of how we want to shift, is to be kind of like a master's defense tableau, where people come in and talk about their program, and we ask them lots of questions, like, hey, this would make this better. Yeah. No, they're asking for 30,000. 10,000 is the staffing, Caitlin.
I think that's just the biggest question I have. I do think the service is valuable. I really think there's a different service for folks, and there's varying levels of accessibility when it comes to age and disability. And I don't know, I thought all the times I've moved by myself, and that in itself is hard. So
It's very hard.
Right. It's a very valuable service. And if you have not a lot of people in your life, it's important. But I think the staffing thing is important to think about. And I also think just like the questions around like case referrals, right? So are they getting referred from a lifespan? And that's how we're getting connected to that client. And that will answer some of our concerns about, maybe validating that client. But I do think the service side, I'm just trying to figure out that.
So in another option, the board has is, if there's not enough information to vote on it, table, but pending see the additional information.
It was specified the, outside of the, what the remaining funds will be used for in terms of, I know it's moving because of like renting a vehicle, or is it just staffing the volunteers, or is it taxes, does it get?
There is, so moving related support
Oh,
and supplies. They probably don't. And I mean, I have personal experience because I am hosting a garage sale, and somebody just offered me like 3 different pieces of furniture, and I'm trying to figure out, I need to hire U-Haul to go to somebody's apartment and have somebody help, because I don't have a pickup, and I don't necessarily have friends that I can say, hey, Joe, I need a pickup truck. And I'm perfectly able-bodied, and this is, for me, it's to help somebody else, but it's not cheap.
No.
That being said, I mean, I've moved and I'm at a place in my life where I'm willing to pay other people and, movers. They'll move it for you. They
Will
will
it cover that? Is that a possibility?
I don't think it's like a member or like a specific. set of
Right,
rules.
because like we used to use like two, we used to use that for if we had anybody that they for today, and then have like supplemented to, and they were like affordable. partnering with agencies like that. Rather than going through U-Haul and having to rent and have a credit card, all that stuff that goes to that. So I think those guys just get an invoice, right? They give you an invoice, okay, it costs this much, $250, and then you just cut the check. So that.
This is an existing program.
Yeah,
Help people in the past, but they need funds for equipment.
no, I think much like Esther Project. They're doing it on a shoestring with friends and donations, and they want to be more
Able to do it.
official. I
Right.
didn't want to say real, because that's real, but, you know, more official and have like a budget and a plan.
Here you insurance involved in terms of.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
No, it's not, but it should be.
Part of their budget.
Yes.
Personal experience with some of our previous agencies is that they do not necessarily understand insurance until they have that conversation.
Yeah, more questions than. Yeah. there's more questions than- I like the idea.
Okay, so let's list out the questions because there seem like we have a lot of them and they're all similar but not the same, and my brain isn't happy with this. So, so one of the questions was whether they could partner with a moving company as opposed to as needed getting a U-Haul. Partnering,
Professionals already do it.
right, partnering with agencies to provide referrals, right, was that one of them?
Remarketing to the business card.
Right, yeah.
Right, but it can also be other stuff.
Like, are they asking about?
It's pretty
Put
vague.
some signage to people.
Right,
Like,
buying a
are they trying to-
billboard, what are you doing?
Well, they funded people.
I registered until the
Yeah.
end to have a billboard for 20 people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
You probably, would you need a budget
Right.
set aside?
Yeah.
And you don't have the staff to then stick from the referrals.
Right.
So. We did ask them how the marketing funds would be used.
Well.
Is that to recruit clients or volunteers? And the answer was. Marketing materials, business cards, tablecloth with our logo for social events, website maintenance, brochures, or vendor fees that fulfill county funds.
What's the budget for marketing?
1,000.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's not. That's not cheap.
It sounds like, based on this, that they are trying to build a referral process, right, with the hospitals. And LC go, et cetera. I guess I'm kind of answering that question. 9:20 home from home. Boyfriend's house, you know, like what's going on.
Yeah, we're pushing. I know we send them from Rochester to the.
Well, they did commit to, you know, that our funds would stick with. The end would be the same, whether they started there or not. Qualifications are qualified. Okay.
Would it be, make one view?
Right.
But would it be possible for us to consider? Especially for referrals, where they do are up into the current. There, these are people who are into this, and you might be ready to run the program, you would be pulling out of their own, and just that training should cost. That's kind of a reality. Unless the.
Everybody in PSH is disabled. So. And social security. So
Yeah, that's what I was
they
thinking
don't have
too.
a lot of funds to like get movers and,
Yeah.
and a lot of times we have to task. So,
It's a,
Yeah. I know my mom was in the hospital, she was. She. Is not very active, so she. In the hospital, there, whatever, they said she's okay to go home, but she has like 20 stairs she has to go. She can't do it. So,
yeah,
I mean, and I said, sorry. But I ended up bringing up something that,
right,
whatever, but. Those are, that's a real problem when people are not. The hospital can't keep them there, so.
Well, this says you have to give them 30 days notice, so although that is absolutely
Yeah.
super valid,
You said
that would.
in hospitals, that's,
Cause I know that that's what ended up persuading my grandma to move, was that she could, well, she had a single story living, but they said. At this point for recovery, you need somebody to be in the house, and she said, well, that's ridiculous. And moved to her own flat apartment, which is great if you can, but then you still have the moving and the packing and all of that, so.
although I will say that 30 days, and we're doing very well. Most of it's that we. There's an emergency kind of situation. We
Right.
usually put them in sections, and we did, but she's talking about that. Have it on paper that you have to give us 30 days.
Maybe. Housing stability, yes, it does specifically say, tell us how this helps with housing stability. It didn't go into a lot of detail. But it ensures disabled individuals are never forced to remain in unsafe or inaccessible housing for lack of.
that is actually very.
Also, the referral system, it's not just one. Why would you stop here? You need more support. It'll be nice if they were working with other agencies to meet with referral.
That I think is covered. They're not just moving to move down. That's part of their process.
So they're doing an assessment of the property.
I think again, it's probably self-declared.
Are they helping to find the properties, or
No.
you're just coming to them and saying, hey, I need to move, I can't do it myself, here's my new address
Yeah.
that I've secured on my own.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes it sound like it would be difficult for them to assess if the new place is accessible, because they are really just moving. They're not sending people on properties.
To like make
Inspecting
sure
them.
inspection, pre-inspection, sure, what it says it's supposed to be.
Right, so they are the budget to run out of truck.
Oh. Okay.
And if that's something that we want to pay for, then can't.
think about it, as workers moving. Or. Someone loses something like their TV, like my uncle lost his TV.
Yeah.
It's like,
Then they're mad.
then they're mad.
That volunteer
Yeah.
clearly looks like the kind of person who would take leave.
Real mouth, Ew,
Yeah, manual labor,
yeah, the manual labor piece.
Yeah,
Those habitat,
and I feel like those two guys in the truck, they have insurance, and
Yeah.
stuff like that, so that would be an additional cost on the organization to do something like that. Rather than renting a truck on your own. Right.
personal information,
personal information.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah,
because that's what I was thinking about when I was saying a lot of information at the hospital. All that was HIPAA. We couldn't have that information, that, they had to be shredded, you know, so it's like, who's in the that stuff? Especially That's why I was volunteers. asking about that, or where are they, that's a lot of personal information,
Yeah,
and what are they asking that information for? How are they using it? What's it kept for? Like, could that even be brought down a little bit for the task of removing you? If you're not going to say, hey, well, we're only helping people with these certain disabilities and not those disabilities. What is the purpose of when you clarify?
That's medical equipment sometimes in sometimes in transit. When it's time to replace like if you want to have.
Is it just loading, carrying, like unloading, with them already packing and packing?
And putting beds like the younger anything around, you know, putting.
yeah, that part is not clear.
Almost makes more sense.
Yeah,
Just
sometimes you have equipment that has to be,
right.
you know, taken apart when you put.
Questions.
Maybe it's the worst. It's literally the worst thing. It's a great concept. Literally hate it.
Written over that.
You would think.
It's fine. Where are they getting the funds from?
Donations, friends.
What's the average cost per?
This looks like about $1,000
Remove,
per move.
how when they got volunteers?
Yeah. 20 to 30 people.
What is that? What are they doing with it?
To pay for the staff.
That runs the program. Who, I guess, technically. This program. Right, probably not. So what is their job? What are they tasked with? Are they finding the volunteers? Are they, that's.
I'm pretty sure they do all of it.
the intake, the accept approval or denial. Anything that comes out.
Just based on what they gave me, that's generally what it is.
That's a lot. Maybe it's a lot for what they were doing, maybe going forward, it may not be a lot. Have to get all the expensive, you know, sell and all that. But I do question, there's free labor. Why is it $1,000? Like, what is those paying for?
Right. Cause the 2 guys in each truck's like 250. They'll go there, take all the stuff that's packed and all the furniture, put it in the truck, take it to the place, put it all inside.
It's 250.
I think it's like 250.
Man, I
They're
know.
really fast.
So.
They're like by the hour. I think it's by the hour, so we like make our clients like, you have to have everything ready to go.
Ready.
So as soon as they get there, just throw it on the truck, take it over there, take it all out.
Well, that's
And
the
so they
first-
try to do it as quick as possible, I guess, probably because we're nonprofit. South, but I remember seeing invoices for it.
That's the question, how do they get ready, to be ready and?
Right, who's managing that?
If they're disabled,
Like, what if they can't pack?
Right.
Is there additional cost? For someone to come pack it, or
So
is it
trained
volunteers?
volunteers assist with packing, with beginning tasks.
Yeah. People definitely
They
without
train
insurance.
and
you're
they're
having
moving
people
stuff.
And clothes.
And going into the home,
Mhm.
oh,
Maybe that's part of the $1,000 is it's already budgeted for insurance.
Maybe
It is not clear.
insurance, truck rental, gas. Boxes, is it supplies, boxes?
I do think, it does seem like some of the time they do have moving professionals. So it may be that for some groups, they do depend on hire.
Well, it sounds like a pretty much moved. It worked, I should see. Yeah, so. Does anyone want a motion? Second. All in favor? Any opposed?
No, that's not her, that is the cursor.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't notice that right away, I could have answered immediately. Okay, so then we are over. I don't think we need to have two meetings in, one in July and one in August. If we would like to, I guess this would be a vote. But I think we maybe only want to have a vote or a meeting. Maybe early August. So, or I can send the dreaded doodle poll, or at least get people's opinions on what might work better.
Yes, and hopefully I'll be able to attend.
So we do have one.
We could keep that one.
I won't be here.
You to be out in France again?
Yes.
Lucky you.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe.
I hope I'm
not
not
consistent with that.
I could use the fingers.
So if you change that, I won't be.
Okay, I'm gonna send out a little reminder to everybody, so, because if we're not gonna have quorum, then that's not a good day to have the meeting, but if enough of us are there, we will. So we don't have to decide it here, fourth. We need 7 to have the meeting. But what that does mean, that Allison and I have learned recently, is that any vote has to then be unanimous.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, our bylaws say that for any action to be taken, it has to be a majority of the directors, period. It's not the majority of directors present at the meeting. So for any, since there's 12 directors, our quorum and our voting requirement is the same. So that's,
Right, now that is something that we could change in the bylaws if we wanted to. I'm not suggesting that we do it, I'm just saying that is, we've had 2 years, we're learning what we're learning, there's always room for improvement. So, that's worth a discussion at some point if we wanted to change things. We'll be voting for this one. No, we don't, because it's already scheduled, so we don't need to. And then at the summer meeting, we will be renewing or replacing officers.
Here's some. Never mind, perfect. Either at once.
Every once in a while we do. 'Cause right now, we're only missing Tim and Carol, because she was here at the. We initially had 2 other members who just said they wanted to and then never did. All right.
Motion to adjourn. Any opposed? All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Leah.
Good. Oh.